All right, since I'm rolling on this, I figure I'd keep going here. So another important difference I noticed with NTPs and the NTJs, if you're trying to look for differences, one of the noticeable differences that you can observe is that the NTPs, because they tend to value the NE so much for its own sake, you'll notice that their conversations tend to kind of go all over the place. It starts bouncing from here to there. They get onto one topic, they'll jump to another topic. They have an idea that enters their mind. They have to throw that idea out into the conversation, and then that idea leads to a different idea. And there's a lot of bouncing around. There's a lot of bouncing around on stuff. And they will enjoy that. It's fun that the ideas go from here to there, and um, they'll bring up this book, they'll bring up this author, they'll bring up that author. Then what did the other guy say versus what that guy said? And that's kind of similar to how this thing works in this other area over here, and and they just kind of like here and there and all over the place. Um, your NTJs will be much more annoyed by that. Um, your NTJs can keep up, especially your LIEs. Uh, ENTJ LIEs can keep up because they are also NE demonstrated. So they too have all these different stories and concepts in their head that they can bounce around from. But they will be a little bit more irritated by a conversation that doesn't seem to stay focused on a particular path, on a particular topic. So if you keep introducing um, different conversations, different topics, it keeps bouncing from one to the other, and it feels like you didn't really complete the other conversation yet. You introduce something new, and now we're drifting into this thing. Um, that is kind of annoying to the NTJ types, and you could say this is the difference of the NE component really kicking in. Um, the NTJs value NI more, and so they want to do the NI thing more. The NTPs value the NE more, so they just like the just bouncing around. Um, the LII, even though NE is not their dominant function, it's still this creative valued function that they have. So they will get on a particular subject or whatever that they want to do, they want to talk about or whatever. And as they're going into that subject, they keep introducing new things into the conversation. They keep referring to new things. They'll point out this guy, that author, this person, that person, and they're bouncing around. Um, an ILE is any dom, so they don't mind talking to people, and different topics get introduced, and then the conversations drifts one way or the other. Somebody asks a separate question that has nothing to do with this, and now the conversation goes that way, and it's like, okay, they'll enjoy doing that, or don't mind it at least. Again, the LIE and the ILIs will be much more bothered by that. The ILIs in particular will probably stick to what they want to talk about, what they came to talk about. They want to stay on task a bit more. Let's do that. Let's get to it. They might be a little more abrasive about that as well, kind of pointing out to people like, hey, are we here still talking about what we came to talk about? What's the agenda for this? What did we decide we were going to be here for? Like, and they might really flat out interrupt the conversation to point that out, um, because they oftentimes have their little narrow areas of things that they're interested in, want to talk about, came to talk about, and do, and that's what they want to do, and they don't really want to do the whole socializing and bouncing around people. Um, uh, the LIE, as I said, can do the bouncing around and jumping from topic, but they don't usually like it as much. And if there's a topic that they are interested in or we're hoping to stay on, they're going to want to stay on that topic. They want to really flush out that particular idea, that concept, that topic you were discussing, really thoroughly go through all that And then once you've exhausted that, then it's like, okay, we can now kind of go over here or whatever. The LIE might reach for examples or quote other authors or other people or something like that, but it's brief. It's just to kind of quickly serve this point that they're trying to make, and then they're going to move on. They're going to get back onto that topic. They're not going to divert the entire conversation in a different direction. Um, so that's another very noticeable difference that you see between the types. Um, it can make the NTJs the gamma quadra. All right. I know I realize I'm using NTJs a little too loosely here. Um, but it can make your ILIs and your LIEs look a little too, again, abrasive with people at times because they're trying to control the conversation or keep it in a certain direction. They can get a little bit aggressive or annoyed because the conversation is going off track and it's just going here, there. People look like they can't stay focused on topic. Um, so these types can be a little bit more rude, a little more abrasive, a little more, harsh socially. And they don't value SI. They have problems with FE. So they're not as nice and social and pleasant in these conversations either. They can really demonstrate that roughness if conversations are drifting and so on. Your ILEs and your LIIs from Alpha Quadra do value SI. They do value FE more. And they value the NE, so they don't mind conversations going here and there. They don't mind people getting distracted and taking a side trip on a conversation or whatever. They don't mind other people who are not like able to really follow along the conversation. They're not as up to date on what we're talking about. They're not sure, and so they're getting distracted. They're bringing in other topics and things. Um, they may not mind that as much. They don't mind the jumping around and so on, and they don't. They'll be a lot more polite and just generally nicer and pleasant. So those are other pretty noticeable observations that help to tell the difference. Again, hopefully that helps you see the differences. Hopefully when you're looking at, for example, just looking at type videos and you're looking at different people discussing stuff, you'll notice it. You'll see the LIIs bringing in more into the conversation and bouncing all over the place. You'll see ILEs bouncing all over the place, enjoying people where the conversation goes here and there and stuff. Um, Whenever you manage to find an LIE or an ILI, especially an ILI in these kind of areas, you'll notice that they again a little bit harsher. They're trying to stay right on topic. They're really drilling onto the topic, and trying to be more practical in that sense. So again, just more observational food for thought there.